Hello, CL Prep Geometry, Tuesday, March 31st. And we're just going over answers. Here's the first problem. I saw a lot of people who didn't distribute the negative. You've got this thing that's multiplying together minus this thing that's multiplying together. And so you have to work out what those things are. And that's this, and only then subtract them because of order of operations. So you have to subtract the entire thing, not just part of it. And that's why you end up getting this answer. Make sure you check yours. Now, in these next ones, I'm going to pause it in a second. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and put all the stuff you should put down right away um, without any work or like any thinking about it at all. So what I'm going to do is anytime there's a GCF, I'm going to take out the GCF. And then anytime I know the signs, I'm going to put down the signs. So I'm going to pause it in a second. And I'm going to go write all those things down, and I'll show you when we start thinking. Okay, here we go. So we've got all the sign patterns down. Based on the sign pattern, you know it'd have to be this. And now these two things are going to multiply together to get me negative 12. And then the oi, the inside and the outside, which is just adding the two numbers, has to give me positive x. So that's positive 4 and negative 3 to give me a positive x in the middle. But in this one, where the sign pattern tells me it's going to be minus and minus, and I need them to multiply to 12, but then combine to give me 13, this one's going to be 12 and 1. Again, you might be doing the AC method or some other method. I'm just kind of showing a basic method here just because I can't reteach all the different methods people have. So anytime you have a greatest common factor, you're going to take out that greatest common factor because it just makes it a lot simpler and a lot quicker then. But the sign pattern stuff still works, and so you still know what the signs are. And so here's the answer to that one. And then this one is x plus 1, x minus 12. Screw. And like this one, if you try to factor this one at the beginning, you might be like, oh my gosh, I mean, 48, that could be 8 and 6, or it could be 3 and 16, or it could be 2 and 24. We'd have so many different things to look at. But if you divide 48 out of all of these things, then you're left over when you divide this one by 48 and this one by 48 and this one by 48, then you end up with x squared minus 3x plus 2. And this is an incredibly easy one. We know the sign pattern. They have to multiply to 2. And when you do negative x and negative 2x, you get your negative 3x that you wanted. And so that's the beauty of doing greatest common factor, is that it makes your life easier afterwards. Now here's a good trick. If you have a negative x squared, then our sign pattern stuff doesn't work. You can't just look at the signs then and know what the signs are in the same way. The pattern is different. So whenever I see a negative for the x squared, I always like to factor that out of everything. Even if these things were positive, I'd factor it out and that would make them negative. But this one, factoring a negative one out gives me this, because once it's positive x squared that I'm factoring in a trinomial like this, then all that sign pattern stuff we talked about last time works. And so it's x plus 5, woo, 2, and x plus 3. And this one, nice spot. Those people who spotted it was a typo because I did not have a pi on the 100. So people who said doesn't factor, or what do we do with this, or something else, nice job, because yeah, there wasn't anything you could do with that one, with what it started as. But once you add the pi there, then this is what I intended. And when you factor the pi out, you get this. And the sign pattern's pretty clear, and it's 20 and 5 multiplied together to make 100. And then negative 20x and negative 5x. The oi gives me negative 25x. Oi, oi, oi. Okay, that's the answers to last time's homework.